Let's start with the truth. Evil is real, not the fairy tale kind, not the horror movie villain in a mask. I mean the kind that walks among us, shakes our hands, and smiles. The kind that, if we're not careful, can make us question our own sanity. So how do you know? How do you recognize someone who isn't just difficult or wounded or even toxic, but truly, deeply, dangerously evil? Empathy is the foundation of human connection. It's what allows us to step into someone else's shoes, feel their joy, their sorrow, their struggles, and respond with kindness. It's the voice inside us that says, I wouldn't want someone to do that to me, so I won't do it to them. It's what makes us human. But an evil person, they don't have that voice, or if they do, they ignore it. The absence of genuine emotion. An evil person doesn't just struggle with empathy, they lack it completely. They can watch suffering and feel nothing, or worse, they can cause suffering and feel satisfaction. If you've ever sat across from someone, tears in your eyes, pouring your heart out, only to be met with a blank stare, a dismissive shrug, or even a smirk, you've encountered someone who lacks empathy. It's chilling when you realize it. That moment when you expect warmth but get cold. When you expect an apology but get indifference, when your pain should matter, but somehow it just doesn't. Faking empathy for manipulation. Now, here's where it gets even trickier. Evil people know that empathy is expected. They understand that most people value kindness, compassion, and emotional connection, so they fake it when it benefits them. They put on a show of concern when there's an audience. They might say the right words at the right time, shed a few crocodile tears, or act supportive until the moment they no longer need to. And then that mask slips, the warmth fades, the coldness creeps back in. This can be especially confusing when they used to seem caring. Maybe in the beginning, they were attentive, supportive, and understanding, but over time, the truth revealed itself. You notice the pattern. Their kindness only appeared when they wanted something. So the moment it wasn't useful to them, it vanished. They exploit the empathy of others. Here's the cruelest irony. Because they lack empathy, they prey on those who have it. Good-hearted people become their targets because they know compassionate people will try to understand them, forgive them, and justify their actions. They take advantage of those who always see the good in others. Have you ever found yourself making excuses for someone's behavior? Telling yourself, maybe they didn't mean it that way. Maybe they had a bad childhood. Maybe they don't know how much it hurt me. That's your empathy talking. And while kindness is a strength, with the wrong person, it becomes a weakness they can weaponize. How to protect yourself. If you notice that someone never shows true concern for others, if they dismiss pain, ignore suffering, and seem emotionally numb to the world, it's time to take a step back. Pay attention to how they react in moments that call for empathy. Do they change the subject when someone is struggling? Do they mock or belittle emotional moments? Do they turn the conversation back to themselves? Do they show zero remorse for their actions even when they've clearly hurt someone? If the answer is yes, then this isn't just a difficult person, it's a dangerous one. And here's the hard truth. You can't teach empathy to someone who doesn't want it. No amount of love, patience, or reasoning will give them a heart that feels. And you deserve to be surrounded by people who care, not just in words, but in actions. So trust your gut. If someone makes you feel like your emotions don't matter, it's because to them, they don't. And that is your sign to walk away. This one is hard to accept because it goes against everything we want to believe about human nature. Most of us feel discomfort when we see someone suffering. We wince when someone trips. We flinch when a friend is hurting. We feel a deep gut-level sadness when we hear about someone going through hardship. That's normal. That's human. But an evil person, they don't feel that way. In fact, they feel the opposite. They enjoy it. They thrive on it. They feed off of it like fuel. Subtle versus overt cruelty. Not all evil people walk around openly celebrating others' pain. Some do. These are the bullies, the aggressors, the ones who mock, taunt, and humiliate people in broad daylight. They take pleasure in watching someone cry, flinch, or crumble under pressure. But others, they're far more subtle. They don't laugh in your face when you're hurting, but if you look closely, you'll see it. The slight smirk when you're struggling, the way their eyes light up when you're overwhelmed, the little digs they throw into conversations just to see you squirm. They may even pretend to comfort you only to use your pain as gossip later. They may act concerned but never actually help. Or worse, they might offer a backhanded support that only deepens the wound. I'm so sorry you didn't get the job, but honestly, maybe that company was out of your league anyway. I can't believe your partner left you, but hey, you probably weren't great together to begin with. That must be so hard for you. I can't imagine because, well, I've never had that problem. This is passive cruelty, a form of pain that it doesn't look like outright abuse, but cuts just as deeply. They engineer suffering. The worst part, evil people don't just enjoy watching pain, they create it. They stir the pot. They plant seeds of doubt, create division, and sit back to watch the chaos unfold. Have you ever met someone who always seems to be at the center of drama, but somehow never takes responsibility for it? That's not an accident. They thrive in environments where people are upset, arguing, or broken because it makes them feel powerful. They might spread rumors to turn friends against each other, provoke arguments just to see people fight, push buttons to trigger emotional outbursts, then play innocent, encourage reckless behavior, only to mock the consequences later. And the most chilling part, they never seem genuinely affected by the harm they cause. While everyone else is reeling, hurting, or trying to fix things, they're calm, sometimes even amused, because to them, this isn't about relationships, it's about control. They target the vulnerable, evil people, are strategic. They don't pick fights with people who can fight back. Instead, they target the vulnerable, the kind-hearted, the trusting, the ones who assume the best in others. They seek out people who are in a moment of weakness, grieving, heartbroken, struggling, too empathetic to believe someone could be that cruel, isolated, or lacking support from others, because these people are easier to manipulate, easier to break. And the more someone suffers, the more power they feel. How to protect yourself. So what do you do when you realize someone enjoys your pain? First, believe what you see. Your gut is not lying to you. If someone consistently makes you feel small, drained, or emotionally battered, it's not an accident. It's who they are. Second, stop feeding them. Evil people thrive on reactions. They want to see you upset, angry, or desperate. The best way to disarm them, don't give them what they want. Stay calm, walk away, set boundaries, and refuse to engage in their games. Responsibility is the foundation of integrity. It's what allows us to admit when we've made a mistake, learn from it, and grow. It's how we build trust in relationships, by owning up to our actions and making amends when necessary. But an evil person, they don't take responsibility, ever. It doesn't matter how clear the evidence is. It doesn't matter how many people call them out. It doesn't matter how much damage they've caused. They will never admit they were wrong. And if they do, it's never real. It's just another manipulation tactic, the blame game. An evil person has a reflex for escaping accountability. The moment they're confronted, they flip the script. Suddenly, they aren't the perpetrator, they're the victim. And you're the one being unfair, overreacting, or attacking them. They will blame anyone and anything before they take responsibility for their own behavior. If they hurt someone, it's because that person made them do it. If they lie, it's because they had no choice. If they get caught, it's because someone set them up. If their life is a mess, it's because the world is against them. They paint themselves as the unfortunate soul who is always being misunderstood, always being treated unfairly, always being forced into situations beyond their control. And if you press them for the truth, they'll twist it until you start questioning yourself. Gaslighting and denial. One of the most dangerous tactics they use is gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality. Even when the facts are right in front of them, they'll deny, distort, and deflect until you start wondering if you imagined everything. You might hear things like, "That never happened. You must be confused. Wow, I can't believe you're bringing this up again. You're always looking for something to be mad about. Why can't you just let things go? You're making a big deal out of nothing." It's infuriating because no matter how much proof you have, no matter how clearly you explain your side, they will not admit fault. And worse, they will try to make you feel guilty for even bringing it up. False apologies. The art of saying sorry without meaning it. On rare occasions, an evil person might apologize, but don't be fooled. It's not because they feel remorse. It's because they want something. Their apologies are never real. They're manipulative, designed to shut you up, not to make things right. You'll hear things like, "I'm sorry if you felt that way." Translation, "It's your fault for being sensitive." "I'm sorry, but you have to understand." Translation, "I'm going to justify why I did what I did." "Fine, I'm sorry. Are you happy now?" Translation, "I don't mean this at all, but I need to get you off my back." A real apology takes ownership. It says, "I hurt you and I take full responsibility. How can I make it right?" But an evil person won't say that because to them, admitting fault means giving up control. They rewrite history. Evil people are master storytellers, but not in a good way. They rewrite the past to fit their version of reality. If they were cruel to you, they'll tell others that you were the problem. If they got caught in a lie, they'll twist the story until they look innocent. If they sabotage a relationship, they'll claim they were the victim all along. And the scariest part, they're so convincing that even they believe their own lies. They genuinely see themselves as faultless, as if the truth itself bends around them. How they get away with it, you might wonder. How do people like this keep getting away with it? The answer is simple. They manipulate people's emotions. They make you feel guilty for holding them accountable. They surround themselves with enablers. They keep people around who will defend them no matter what. They prey on empathy. They count on the fact that good-hearted people will give them chance after chance. And the more they escape consequences, the more emboldened they become. How to protect yourself. So how do you deal with someone who never takes responsibility? Stop expecting them to change. They won't. No matter how much you explain, argue, or try to make them see reason, they will never own up to their actions. Refuse to play their game. If they try to gaslight you, stay firm in your truth. If they try to shift the blame, don't take the bait. If they fake an apology, don't accept it as real change. Set clear boundaries. Don't let them manipulate you into forgiving and forgetting when they haven't truly made amends. If they refuse to take responsibility, limit your interactions with them. Protect your peace. Some battles aren't worth fighting. If someone in your life repeatedly dodges responsibility, it may be time to walk away. Because here's the truth, you cannot build a healthy relationship with someone who refuses to own their actions, whether it's a friend, a partner, a family member, or a colleague. If they never take responsibility, you will always be the one carrying the weight of their mistakes. And you deserve better than that. Some people bring light into a room. They uplift, inspire, and make those around them feel safe. Others, they do the opposite. They thrive in chaos. They manipulate situations, pit people against each other, and stir up drama, not by accident, but by design. An evil person is not content with peace. Peace means stability, and stability means people can think clearly and see the truth. That's a threat to them. So what do? They create disorder. They keep the waters muddy, the emotions high, and the people around them distracted and divided so that they can maintain control. They stir the pot for their own gain. Evil people don't create chaos just for fun, though some do enjoy it. There's always a motive. They disrupt harmony because it gives them an advantage. If people are confused, they're easier to manipulate. If people are fighting, they don't notice who started it. If people are emotionally drained, they don't have the energy to hold them accountable. Have you ever known someone who seemed to always be at the center of conflict, yet somehow they never take responsibility for it? That's not a coincidence. They manufacture tension and division while keeping their hands clean so others take the fall. How they create chaos. Evil people use calculated strategies to keep people in turmoil. Here's how they do it. 1, they spread rumors and lies. One of the easiest ways to divide people is to make them doubt each other. Evil people are masters of misinformation. They twist the truth, taking a small fact and distorting it into something damaging. They spread rumors. Knowing that once a lie is out, it's hard to erase. They play the messenger, telling you what someone else said to make you doubt that person. And once the damage is done, they step back and act innocent, pretending they had nothing to do with the fallout. 2, they pit people against each other. An evil person loves to see others fighting. Why? Because when people are at odds, they can't unite against the real problem, them. They'll fuel conflict by telling one person a different version of the story than they tell another, pretending to support both sides while secretly making things worse, provoking arguments by playing on people's insecurities and emotions. And when the fighting starts, they sit back and watch, satisfied that they've maintained their power while everyone else is too distracted to see what's really happening. 3, they thrive in drama and crisis. A chaotic environment makes people feel unsettled, emotional, and desperate for stability. Evil people take advantage of this by creating unnecessary problems so they can swoop in and fix them, keeping people off balance so they don't have time to think clearly, blowing small issues out of proportion so they can stay in control. They make sure that the world around them is always on edge. If things start to calm down, they'll manufacture a new crisis just to keep the cycle going. 4, they gaslight and confuse. Evil people don't just create chaos between others, they also create it within you. They make you doubt what you saw, what you heard, and even what you know to be true. They rewrite history, insisting that events didn't happen the way you remember. They tell you that you're overreacting or misunderstanding things. They shift the blame onto others so that you're never sure who to trust. By keeping you mentally and emotionally disoriented, they make sure you never feel secure enough to challenge them. Why they do it, you might wonder. Why would anyone want to create so much destruction? The answer is simple: power. Evil people gain power when others are weak. They love division because it keeps people from forming strong, united bonds. They love conflict because it distracts from their own wrongdoings. They love drama because it allows them to control the narrative. How to protect yourself. So how do you handle someone who thrives on chaos? Recognize the pattern. If someone constantly causes division but never takes responsibility for it, that's a red flag. Pay attention to how they operate. Don't take the bait. If they try to pull you into drama, step back. Don't engage in their games, and don't let them drag you into unnecessary conflicts. Fact check everything. If they tell you something that makes you doubt someone else, verify it before believing them. Evil people rely on blind trust to spread lies. Keep your emotions in check. They want you to be reactive because emotional people are easier to manipulate. Stay calm, think logically, and don't let them control your feelings. Distance yourself. The best way to stop being a pawn in their chaos is to remove yourself from their reach. If you can, cut ties completely. If not, set firm boundaries and limit your interactions. Because here's the truth. You deserve peace. You deserve relationships that are built on trust, not manipulation. And the moment you recognize that someone thrives on division, you need to ask yourself one question. Do I want to spend my life in their storm, or do I want to step into the calm? The choice is yours. Have you ever been around someone who leaves you feeling exhausted? Even after a short interaction, someone who seems to suck the life out of you, leaving you mentally, emotionally, and even physically drained, that's not an accident. That's what an evil person does. They don't just take up space in your life, they consume it. They don't just demand your attention, they feed off of your energy. And the longer you allow them in your world, the more depleted you become. Why do they drain you? An evil person's goal is not to build you up, support you, or make you feel strong. Their goal is the opposite, to wear you down. Because when you're drained, you're easier to manipulate. When you're exhausted, you don't have the strength to question them, challenge them, or walk away. They do this in different ways. Emotionally draining you through constant drama and negativity, mentally exhausting you with mind games, gaslighting, and manipulation, physically wearing you down by demanding all your time and energy. It's a slow process, but over time you start to feel less like yourself. Your joy, confidence, and inner peace begin to fade, and you may not even realize why. How they drain you. An evil person has many tactics for pulling energy from you, but here are the most common ways. One, they constantly create drama. You might notice that life with them is never calm. If things start to settle, they manufacture a new crisis just to keep the chaos going. One day they're angry at a friend, the next day they have an issue with their job, then suddenly they're the victim of some terrible injustice, and who do they turn to? You. They unload their problems onto you, expecting you to listen, console, and fix things. At first, you might feel like you're just being a good friend, partner, or family member, but over time you realize something. They don't actually want solutions. They want your energy. Two, they drain you with negativity. Some people lift you up. An evil person does the opposite. They are always complaining, always criticizing, always focusing on the worst in everything, and if you try to be positive, they shut it down. If you tell them good news, they'll find a way to downplay it. If you express excitement about something, they'll remind you of all the things that could go wrong. If you try to encourage them, they'll dismiss it with a yeah, but. Over time, their negativity seeps into your mind. You start feeling more drained, more discouraged, more hopeless, and they love that. Because the more defeated you feel, the easier you are to control. 3. They demand your time and energy without giving back. A healthy relationship, whether it's a friendship, partnership, or family bond, is a two-way street. Both people support each other, both people give and receive. But with an evil person, it's always one-sided. They expect you to drop everything for them at a moment's notice. They expect you to listen to their problems for hours, but the moment you need support, they disappear. They expect you to go out of your way for them, but they never do the same in return. It's not just selfishness, it's intentional depletion. They want to keep you exhausted because exhausted people don't have the strength to walk away. 4. They manipulate your emotions. Evil people are experts at playing with your feelings. One moment they make you feel special, needed, and valued. The next, they tear you down, making you feel small, guilty, or unworthy. This creates an emotional roller coaster. You crave their approval. You feel drained trying to keep them happy. You become dependent on their validation, and just when you think you're done with them, they pull you back in with moments of kindness, only to start the cycle all over again. 5, they make you doubt yourself. One of the most insidious ways an evil person drains your energy is by making you question your own reality. They gaslight you until you doubt your own memory. They criticize you until you lose confidence in yourself. They isolate you until you feel like they're the only person you can trust. The weaker you feel, the more power they have over you. And that's exactly what they want. Signs you're being drained. You might not notice right away that an evil person is draining your soul. But over time, you may start experiencing constant exhaustion, even after seeing them for a short time, feeling emotionally heavy or burdened. Loss of joy in things you once loved, a sense of walking on eggshells around them, doubting yourself more and more, feeling trapped as if you can't escape them. If any of this sounds familiar, it's not normal. It's a sign that someone is taking more from you than they should. How to protect yourself. So what do you do when you realize someone is draining you? Recognize what's happening. The first step is awareness. Once you see the pattern, you can start taking steps to break free. Stop engaging in their drama. If they come to you with negativity, complaints, or chaos, don't feed into it. Keep your energy for yourself. Set firm boundaries. You don't have to answer their calls immediately. You don't have to be their emotional dumping ground. Protect your time and space. Prioritize self-care. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. Do things that bring you peace and joy. Rebuild your energy. Consider cutting ties. If someone is truly draining your soul, you might need to walk away completely. It's not easy, but your well-being is worth it.